I'm glad you brought up that place too, because I do want to give them a shout out. They were awesome. The owner of the place was again, we'll talk about stigma later, but on the cultural norm that we have even 10 years ago about the stigma with tattoos, you look at the owner of this place, and he's a pretty intimidating dude. He's he was about my height, which is over 6 feet tall. He was tattooed from his cheekbones solid down. You could see in his arms completely covered in tattoos, cheekbones, neck, everything. He had huge earlobes. But the guy was thoughtful, intelligent. If you recall, we visited several tattoo places, and he's the one that kind of sold us, because he said, don't go with me, figure out what's going to work for you, figure out the cleanliness of the place, that you look at the lines, and when you're looking through the pictures, he taught us a lot about what to look for in a tattoo place. And that just impressed us both. If I'm speaking for you a little bit, but that really impressed me. And so we came to the consensus, yeah, we want to go with this, and then this establishment, and then this particular artist, because that guy, do you remember he had like a piano with like musical notes on his forearm, something
Probably, yeah. I don't remember,
but he did that to himself, and it was like perfect, and we were like, yeah, that's the guy we want.
Yeah. I mean, kind of going back just a little bit, I remember walking into that place, because you're right, we were shopping around. We were there. I want to say it for the world to know that we are uber nerds, and we were there for San Diego Comic-Con, and it was our Comic-Con, our first one, and we went together with your wife, and I can't remember when in the trip it was happening, but it kind of was scattered, if I recall. You had done a little research, I had done a little research. We had some places in mind, and it really did, like, it felt as soon as we walked into this place, Church of Steel, right? Was that?
Yep, Church of Steel. You got it.
Yeah, and this gentleman came forward, and I am totally guilty of having like thoughts in my head of like, wow, this guy, like you said, cheekbones down, and it's intimidating, and there's an image, and he walks over, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, look at this, like, this is simultaneously incredible and terrifying. And immediately when he starts talking to you, it's just like all of it goes away. He is so knowledgeable. He is so passionate about art and his art, and the people that work in his establishment that share that similar vision. It was so comforting and so educational to talk with this gentleman. And he talked a lot about, like, this is when you go into a tattoo parlor or a tattoo shop, you have all these artists, and they have books there for you to look at, so you can see the images. And I loved how he broke it down for us of like, so if these are your ideas, because we already had created ideas for ourselves for these tattoos, that like, if this is the idea, you want these types of lines, and you need this kind of like this type of filling, and like all this sort of like artistic stuff that I hadn't really considered myself. So he was going through books to show like, well, this is how you can recognize that, and et cetera, et cetera. And we found in that shop like the guy